what is your thoughts on the right guard? Right now, I am really hoping that Halapoulivaati Vaitai is going to come in, be healthy, stay for that right guard position, because before he was injured, he was absolute stud at the right guard position. I talked to Lomas Brown, and that was before the injury. Lomas said that he thought that Halapoulivaati Vaitai was the best player on the offensive line when he was healthy. That guy knows offensive linemen, and he did do well. So hopefully he comes in, stays healthy, and holds it down for the Detroit Lions. Graham Glasgow will be the backup, in my opinion, and then obviously who we drafted there, he'll be kind of the depth player. So I think that's how it's going to go. What's your thoughts on RG?
If he can go, Evan Brown last year, who basically replaced him, is probably a little bit better pass protection, but vastly inferior when it comes to run blocking. Vaitai is incredibly superior in the run game, and what's Campbell and company like to do? They like to run, set up play action. So having him in there would take this offensive line and run game to another level, in my opinion.
Weston Lyon says, if you go down the list of draft picks, every one of them could replace someone on the present squad. It does make a lot of sense if you do go through it. The running back replaced who? DeAndre Swift. Jack Campbell, who does it replace? Probably Derek Barnes, in my opinion. You go in Sam Laporta, Shane Zylstra out. You go in there with Brian Branch. That could be interesting there. Could that be a Melifonwu or a Tracy Walker? Hendon Hooker, obviously the quarterback. Broderick Martin, Levi and Uzurike. So if you don't go down the line, I kind of concur, and that's what you want. You want to be able to draft, and you're not drafting because you have to draft a position. You're drafting just to upgrade. And I think that's what they're at that position now, or the roster where they can just draft to upgrade and let players go. Will Tracy Walker be ready for the season? I do believe so, Jonathan, 100%. Your thoughts on that?
Will he be ready? Probably from a physical standpoint. Will he be a little behind, probably mentally, having to catch up and get acclimated to his knee, get faith back in his knee? Sure, that's going to take some time. I will say this, as far as Branch replacing somebody, I think Walker, if he's not careful, he might be on the outside looking in.
It's very possible, too. Yeah, if he doesn't get his stuff together, he would be the odd man out. It's not going to be Kirby Joseph. It's not going to be Gardner Johnson at this point. And you look at it, he's the guy. So he's got to look out. You're 100%. Cy Gray, my man, says, #lines, what are your feelings about the outside linebacker and defensive tackle position? I'll go DT. I'll let you go OLB. DT, I feel like they need probably another guy, even though they just picked one up for pass rushing capabilities. Other than that, I'm good with run stuffing. What's about OLB for you?
I think Houston and Anzalone, if you're looking at a three-backer set, I don't see how you can get Houston off the field. And, again, I've referred to this a lot. You looked at the last two games last season, the Lions made Houston a starter, moved him to outside backer, even had him drop into coverage, especially against Green Bay quite often. So I think that's just going to be the future. They see what he can do, how rare he is. You're not wanting to get him off the field.
#Mike and Dan. CJ Moore was a key player on special teams. Who's that back-end roster guy to take his spot, and who do you let Gibbs do field kicks? Do you let him do field kicks? Back end of the roster. I can think Khalif Raymond. That's kind of what I'm thinking right there if you're doing kick returns, like something of that nature. Special teams, you're looking more like Jalen Reeves-Maben to make some special teams, but that's more coverage unit, not in return. I don't know if they do like a special from special teams, a special play that C.J. Moore did where he took that one and gained like 28-some yards on fourth down. I'm not sure who they'd go to there, but I'm thinking Khalif Raymond. Could they do Jahmyr Gibbs in kick returns? I guess they could. I wouldn't advise it. That's me personally. I wouldn't do it. What do you think?
Maybe if the game's on the line, especially a big game, but as he's not a bigger guy to begin with. So they're going to be careful with the snap counts and how many hits, direct hits, especially if you're talking a punt return or a kickoff return where you're giving everybody a running start to go kill the dude. I just don't see them putting him out there unless it's an absolute game necessity moment.
Let's see. Do you think James Houston will be dominant? I think he'll be damn good. I don't know what you mean by dominant. He's not going to be on the field the whole time because he wasn't last year. but he's definitely going to be a game changer. I think he can get double-digit sacks this year and be an absolute force, but dominant, you're talking like all-pro? I don't know about that, but damn good player. What do you think?
I'm going to take Houston to get somewhere between 9 and 14 sacks this year.
I can
I
see
just
that.
think because in some of that, let me preface this. Some of it because I think we will be able to shut down the run vastly better than last year. You're going to force more and more teams into obvious passing situations, which plays into his hands. You look at the NFC North, and just about all the teams are, I think, going to struggle to run against Detroit. Maybe I'll be proven wrong, but that means they're going to have to rely on the pass. And again, if that's who you're facing more often than not is your own division, that's going to give him a lot of free passes at getting after the quarterback.
Great name by Games Dean, #Lions. Do you think there is any chance we trade for a defensive tackle before the season? I know there's been rumors. Personally, I don't think they're going to trade for an Oliver of a Quinnen Williams. I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to be stuck with what they are. That's my personal thought. What do you think, Dan?
You come down to the asking price. I've heard conversations of 1 or 2 first-round picks. I don't see the Lions doing that. Maybe a 4th or 3rd rounder. I could see them doing that. So a team would have to get, or really have to have a need to unload somebody to take a 3rd or 4th rounder. So we'll see what happens.
#Smash the hole. I cannot wait to see the competition and see who makes this team, man. I'm with you 100% right there. Training camp's going to be fun to see these guys battle for spots because the battles are going to be legit, and there's going to be players who cut that are going to get picked up by other teams on this squad for sure. Mike, besides week 1, what is the best away game to take a road trip to attend? I would like to. I know everyone hates the Dallas Cowboys, but I'd love to go to Dallas and see the stadium there. That would be one, and the rivalry is always hot over there, so that would say Dallas. What about you?
Lambeau Field, just because I think you're going to be able to be one of the few people alive that could say you go to Lambeau Field and see back-to-back Lions wins there. So go enjoy it. It'll be nice weather and a not too far trip.
Your intro is too long. You think Levi plays this year? I personally don't think he plays this year. I really don't. I think he does not play this year. What is your thoughts on that?
If I'm him, man, I'm sticking around to try to get my pension, but really lower back injury, at his position especially, he's don't do anything to destroy your body full time, man.
And his age. God, he's so young to have that. It's crazy to think. Mike, who do you think will be doing kick returns and punting returns? I think it'll be Khalif Raymond probably. That's what I would be going with right now. Maybe somebody else jumps in the mix. There's always going to be someone jump in the mix, but I'd put my money on him right now. F the Bears. We always do. How do you think that Kansas City game plays out? My Kansas City prediction, our vet defensive backs will get burned first half, come together late, and pull out the win. One pride, baby. Brent, I have Lions winning this game. I do have the Lions winning this game. I can see a situation where you get burnt in the first half. I see a couple interceptions and the Lions being on fire a little bit and win the game by 3. What do you think, Dan?
I think Kansas City is going to pretty much run what they have the last 3 or 4 years, both offensively and defensively, which is going to make them predictable over the next few months. I think Aaron Glenn, though, has a lot more weapons on defense than he's had at any point with the Lions. So I'm going to expect the Lions to run a lot of different sets that Kansas City won't be able to prepare for leading into this game. And because of that, I'm going to take Detroit to win 37-31.
Yeah, we're right there, man. We got the same prediction. I know a lot of people saying, every time I get into the CBS Sports HQ chat, everyone's saying, oh, you Lions fans are just cocky. No, it's actually not. We're the opposite of cocky over here. We're just confident. We've seen what we're seeing, and we're seeing the build-up. I'm with you. I think they can take it to him. #kicker. Who do you think will win the kicking job? I'm going to go with Michael Badgley. I think it's really his to lose at this point. I know they brought in the kicker for competition. I think he'll look. I think it's a legit competition, but I do think at this point that Badgley wins this bad boy. What do you think? Do you think anything different there?
Badgley on the landslide. I think the other kid's fairly accurate. I just don't think he has the leg strength. I think he's got good leg strength. I don't see him kicking consistently anything over 45, 50 yards with accuracy, and that's going to be a problem.
Hope we don't choke. Mike, do you see any trap games like Carolina last year? Ooh, great question about trap games. I'm going to go with the Chicago in Chicago game. I think a lot of people just assume they're going to, we're going to roll over them. I would not assume that. Remember last year, they damn near beat us. And I think we shouldn't be cocky into that game. I think we should be confident, but we should really prepare like they're a team. Teams like I think they can get 7-8 wins. Those are teams you got to worry about. They're like on the edge. They could be good. They can have really good games sometimes, and then they can play garbage. But I think that would be a team in a game to watch out for in Chicago. What about you?
Chargers. Weather change, time change. It's a long flight, and you're going to lose sleep. They're not a bad team. I mean, if you're not on your A game, they could drop some real damage on you.
Yeah, the Chargers game, I just put I think about it. That's why I put it for a loss when the schedule came out. It's going to be a tough one because Justin Herbert and that offense is going to do better. Definitely going to do better. Mofo Jimbo, Mike, would you do your best to get the Super Bowl if the Lions make it, or is it way too much money for me? I may go to the stadium and be outside of it, having some hot dogs and hamburgers or something like that, but there's no way I can afford $20,000 or $50,000 for a ticket. I love my Lions, but that's way too much for me. Unless Dan pays for it. Then I'm all for it, Dan. He's going to pay for me to go there. I need a good $50,000. What's your thoughts on paying for me to go to the Super Bowl when the Lions get there?
I guess if we broadcast from there, we're working, so we could say that it's a business expense and write it off on our taxes.
Oh, definitely. Well, I'll definitely have you write it off on your taxes so I can get in free right then and there. Nothing comes out to my account. I would absolutely love it. I like one. Raiders is a trap game. I like that. That is a trap game for sure. I still think we win, but maybe they buy into McDaniel's system a little bit more. They could. I'm just not a McDaniel's fan at all. I think he was a terrible coach for the Denver Broncos. And I think that Patriots are terrible. They just absolutely are. Thank you, Pat Matricia, for destroying our football team. Let's see, if Goff plays well, you're going to want at least $45 million. Daniel Jones got $40 million. Would you pay Jared Goff an extension of $45 million a year?
If he plays like he did last year and at other points in his career, I think Brad Holmes said it best. It's a whole lot easier to get worse at that position than it is to get better. So Hooker would have to have really given the coaching staff something in practice for that amount of time for them to say, yeah, we're comfortable going with this kid. But I've been a Lions fan long enough to be able to say this. Eric Kramer won us a playoff game. He led us to nearly a couple others. We let him go with Andre Ware. I think most Lions fans, whether you're young or old, can remember how that went.
It's going to be an interesting season for many different reasons, because if Jared Goff does win off a playoff game and does have a pretty good season like last year, what do you do? That is a quandary that he would be able to do something that number 9, Matthew Stafford, was unable to do, win a playoff game. So that's going to be very intriguing. I do think this team is much better all around talent-wise and coaching-wise, but man, this season's big for Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions. So if he does come out and plays, 4,500 yards passing and 32 touchdowns to 8 interceptions, there's going to be a lot of people saying the Lions should extend this guy.
Perfect.